Well, so cymatics would be the closest thing in a physical medium that we could use in order to visualize the material shifting and creating more coherent geometries. Some people work with salt, some people work with Sedona red rock, you know, some people work with shungite powder. Each one of these types of powdered minerals will potentially have a different impact when different frequencies are applied to them. So this geometry is from the plasmoid unification model is now getting imprinted into the electromagnetic field, and the EMF mic is proving it. So can I see someone's cell phone again? Can I see your cell phone? And then we'll just put the phone into the field. Look at that. So this is your brain. This is your brain on EMF. Don't do EMF. Just kidding. You can do it. Just, you know, create some boundaries.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, nothing new under the sun. Sorry? With permission of the owner. Can we pass this around? Okay, yeah, so you're the one who came up with the idea. It's your responsibility if it goes missing.
It's such a special thing, and I have to thank the Matsumoto family for entrusting it with the project. Far in the universe, nuclear collapses very often take place by the gravitational force after stars consume their fuel. Since the electromagnetic force is about 40 orders stronger than the gravitational force, it should be easy to induce similar nuclear collapses by the electromagnetic force in laboratory. But we never knew until now how to do that. Recently, the author, Dr. Takaaki Matsumoto, discovered a nuclear collapse which was induced by the electromagnetic force in laboratory during studying the mechanisms of so-called cold fusion phenomena. Several kinds of nuclear reaction which were directly induced by the electromagnetic force, called electronuclear reactions, ENRs, were found so far to occur in a special state of hydrogen clusters called itonic clusters, or micro ball lightning. The nuclear collapse was one of the most remarkable reactions among ENRs, called the electronuclear collapse. Furthermore, very amazingly, completely broken materials by ENC were found to be regenerated to thin tubes and films of conventional elements such as carbon, oxygen, and iron. The latter process is called electronuclear regeneration.
So those are your crenellated spheres?
Okay, on the subject of the crenellated spheres. In several systems, if you have, at the bottom of a yin vortex, you are, in my view, at that point, you're twisting the ether in such a way that at that point, it starts to unravel matter. So in my presentation, I showed you this structure where I placed a Mars gas, which has a special component in there, which is released when you burn the gas, and that produces this magnetohydrodynamic structure, and it has a vector down to a point where there's like, it's a torsion field, and it has a focus where in the structure of the physical vacuum at a quanta scale on a toroidal level above, there's the interaction between that vector and the toroidal vector of the structure of the physical vacuum above, okay? And at that point, it literally unwinds matter, and that's the yin pulling force. It desires to take from the environment to create life, okay? So that is disrupting matter. Now, any matter in that position will have the hidden matter within the energy ripped from it. And this is what Nina Kalugina was doing when she was using Psi-Force, which we have the capability to use. She was able to move material around, but she was also able to stop the heart of a frog and restart the heart of a frog with her intention through her hands. And then when one of her colleagues said, well, you know, I'm not really believing this, you know, try and do it to me, she did it and sent him into cardiac arrest. And they had to do CPR. So that's extracting chi. And it's just sad because there's two horrendous weapons that are possible with this technology that almost certainly have been developed, and you don't know it's even possible, but in certain circles it's just accepted as part of things you can do, right? So it's able to extract that. And what happens when you extract that hidden energy within the matter? The electrons just fall off and the matter starts disassembling. And it disassembles in the most, in my view, most stable nucleon clusters. So it disassembles into protons, helium alpha particles, and carbon. So because you're changing the distortion of the physical vacuum, and all energy comes from a difference in change in the distortion of the physical vacuum. It doesn't matter whether it's chemical energy or nuclear energy. Okay, so, but I can tell you our experiment called Ultra Experiment, it's highly well defined. A 3-year-old can learn to conduct it and do the experiment within 7 minutes. It works 100% of the time if you follow the instructions, and you get lighter and heavier elements, and I wasn't blown up. It's called the least action process, right? So the yang side, that's the brighter light in your Masonic temples. You had the sun force in all of the ancient religions, right? The swastika, right? That disassembles and unwinds the trapped light, okay? Then it can be unwound in such that the connection between the clusters in the particular nucleus fall apart based on their strength of binding. Okay. Then it goes through a wormhole, which is in page 91 in Matsumoto's book, which he worked out from 11 years of his research. Okay. Goes through the wormhole, comes through to the yin. So the yang is disassembling matter. It goes through a wormhole. It's not interacting with any matter. This is literally able to go through all of the matter you can possibly imagine without interaction.
And the wormhole connects the center of the yin to the center of the yang?
Yes. You getting it? And on the other side, on the yin, it assembles matter. So there, in this particular experiment, which I think ran for 90 seconds or 300 seconds, one or the other, on that particular side, you don't want to run it long because it gets confused. This is confused, right? There's lots of experiment things that went on all over the place, over and over and over again. So it ends up being homogeneous. It just looks like rock. Okay, so it comes around the other side, and on that side, inside the Vesica Pisces, inside the golden ratio line, there is exactly a 2-arm spiral galaxy structure, which was replicated by other parties. And inside those places, but it's not that the Magatarm was up here and then the other side it's down there. It is the 69. It is the yin-yang, even on that level. It literally looks like a 6 and a 9. On that side, there was calcium and no boron. So if it's a contamination in the system and both vortexes are the same, you should see calcium and boron here and calcium and boron here, but you don't. You see boron here with no calcium, which is aluminium minus oxygen, and over here you see aluminium plus oxygen, which is some isotopes of calcium in the absence of boron, and that is the yin side, the creative force in the universe. You literally cannot have a universe which does not have yin and yang. And because it's fractal, every yang has a yin and a yang, and every yin has a yang and a yin. Okay, there's female in all of us, and there's male in all of us. Get over it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So, the least action process defines that you are reorganizing the nucleons in a way that doesn't involve the Coulomb barrier. It's irrelevant. Forget about it. Right? Forget about it. And it comes around the other side. And so you're taking apart matter. That has energy. It's captured and it's released in the reorganization of the matter on the other side. There might be a net-net.
Characteristics of ball lightning, you find them in crop circles, and you'll find them in comet sort of impacts where there's the same multi-axis shear, and they're producing these things. So they're concurrent, with everything else.
So can I finish the question? So I was wondering, is it potentially that one of the spheres that was welded could have contaminants of a magnetic material, and that's causing the isopotential lines to steal the plasma, increasing the heat on one side? Because you did say, like with magnets, it can...
No, what's happening is, remember, there's two things happening inside. So it's counter-rotational spin.
Yeah.
So you've got the vacuum pulling through your water in its gas phase, pulling through plasmoids, right? Mm-hmm. My theory on it, I think at the moment it would be brave for anyone to state an absolute, right? Because even though I've been working on it, it's still everything I think is a theory, and it fits into my theory. But what I believe is that the plasmoids, when they come, when you have the exhaust gas interacting with the plasmoids coming through on the inside sphere, there's a point, and it's almost a sort of a linear point where the temperature changes. I believe that that is because as it's coming out of the exhaust, it interacts and to build up the charge in the plasmoids that are actually coming through. And once they're built up to charge and big enough, they steal the heat. That's my theory. You know, like they actually get to a point where they're absorbing the heat. And that's why it's on a line this way, even though they're spinning that way. A really interesting thing we found that, because we had the temperature probe, even if you stick like a Jubilee clip or something, you know, for a sampling point on the thunderstorm generator, and this is what it's been frustrating with welders and that, because they just, oh yeah, I'm just welding up they think they're just welding up an exhaust gas system, but you're not. You're welding up like a violin, right? So the transitions have to be right, and there has to be a lot of attention to detail, so you don't have any points at which you are discharging, right? And the whole annealing process is to get rid of those anomalies. Because what I wanted to do was have everyone have the same thunderstorm generators. We intend to put 25 of them around the world. I think we've got about, and Bob's got, I think, 6 or 7 homes for the new batch. And we've made homes for the previous batch around the world, so people do independent testing. But it's so important with the original test that everyone's testing on the same prototype. Because we've had sort of people go, oh, look, this thing doesn't work as it should, and say, well, what's it made out of? Is the first question. Oh, well, I can't weld stainless steel, so I did to steel. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it's not stainless steel. So, it's not the catalyst it should be. Because it's got its own electromagnetic field, and it's not a normal field, right? And because it's so sensitive, but you also, when you put that on, you're changing the frequency. If you put a clip on it, or you put a bracket on it, right, to Earth, that's deadly. The one good thing about the generators, they're sitting on rubber, which insulates, because the plasmoids will go to Earth. They'll go to Mother Earth, right? They'll go to ground, right? So the insulation is a very important factor, not to short-circuit it. And the subtle thing, we went to the lab in North Carolina State University, and what they did was they added a pipe which changed the frequency, and then they put it in the fume cabinet, and the fume cabinet is grounded to Earth. Right, and they say, why does it work, Malcolm? I said, send me a picture, because I knew what had happened. You don't buy a violin or, say, a slide trombone, and then change the side of the slide, the length of the slide, and expect it to operate in the same manner. This is tuned to the exact frequency it needs to be. If you take the 10 most abundant elements on the Earth, oh, well, when we run from the water and we do our cavitation, we find the 10 same in abundancy, the same abundancy as you find in the Earth. As above, so below. It's absolutely extraordinary. And it's so simple. Yeah. But here we have the Hutchison effect, right, which is demonstrating that colour. Right? Now, Solomon's molten sea was made of that colour, and it's also, if you like, the reddy purple robes of the priests, who were insulated carts opening up the Solomon's molten sea, which I reverse engineered. And would you believe that there's 2,000 baths of water in Solomon's molten sea? But this sample is a miracle. That it's here and now, and I can stand up here and hold orichalcum, which means 3 things. Atlanta exists. Otherwise, where did the orichalcum for Solomon's molten sea come from? Right? And Solomon's molten sea is 2,000 baths. Why? Because go back to the truth. Reject the toxic stupidity of the metric system. Hold on to the cubit, the furlong, the inch. These are God's measurements. The plasmoid's job, which we call Shamir or EVOs, or you go back to the Sanskrit text in China that I got access to, I wanted to see the cover, because that document was discovered in 1885, right, and was sent to India, language professor. It was then translated by a Tibetan Shaolin priest, right? The hand forms that he taught me are force magnification, right? So, and left and right, male and female. Yep. So that what you're doing is by changing your hand form and by flattening your hand and pulling your palm back, and you can all do it. It's an interesting thing. If you hit something with your hand and you haven't got the hand form, you'll break your hand. But if you restructure your hand, if you hit a fist, right, that's 20 times more volume, or 20 to 30, depending on, you know, what your geometry is. But if you can focus all your force in one inch punch, then in that point, solar plexus, right, or what you're doing is a force multiplier. That's 20 or 30 times more powerful than a punch. Simple geometry, simple fact. Yeah. So basically, and also part of those techniques was, I said, the frequency lifting rocks. But in a meditative state, my teacher would levitate himself. But the point is that with this, with the Solomon's Molten Sea, the units of measurement, which you have to be very mindful of, and the volume relates and the angles relate to its frequency. This is a time crystal. It's an imploding structure that we lost, and you can get it from first principle. But what's the truth? The truth is that Solomon's Molten Sea is 2,000 bars, 72 hin in each bath. It's 144,000. It's the enlightened ones. The enlightened ones realize that Solomon's Molten Sea was charging the Ark of the Covenant, and the Ark of the Covenant is 2.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits, which is 5.625 square cubits. Why did Nikola Tesla measure out the exact volume? But Nikola Tesla weighed out the copper first, right, and then made the wire from it.
Everybody.
And he had the same copper block from the same, you know, because not everything's the same, from the same pot of copper pouring out 2 exact cubes, and you have to match it. It's the subtleties. So what I'm saying is there's a relationship between why was it so important that before they made the Tibetan bells, and my teacher, Tibetan teacher, made me go through that process meticulously, because then once I'd got the exact volume, right, using a square, then we melted it down and made a Tibetan bell. Ka-ching. Boom. Right? Time, volume, frequency. The thunderstorm generator is the most sophisticated machine ever seen on the earth. Going back to my time in China, when I found the document that Oppenheimer used to build the atomic bomb that was found in a cave in China when the earthquake happened, the wall collapsed, that document was then translated and taken to America. I stayed in exactly the spot where that priest, monk, did all his work and had the ashram originally, and that's where I got my downloads. Exactly the same time, space. That's where you have sacred points. But the main thing is, if you go back, the further you can go back in time, as Oppenheimer did. He wrote 2 books on Sanskrit. Tesla was taught by the guy that interpreted those scripts. So basically, the sequence of events was that For the Environmental Protection Agency, our business partners have the environmental people coming in doing samples. They then would have the results come in. They'd have to certify every month that they're meeting the EPA standards. So we had them come in and do the test work on our motors, which confirmed that my gas analyzer was meeting the same results as they were getting. And then we went through a process about 3 months where they came in and did the samples. They then spoke to the government and to the manufacturers of their machine, and therefore the configuration that you saw that was tested yesterday was a configuration that they approved of. Now, so it means that they were then coming on the 28th, so we redesigned to their specification those points. Yeah, well, it's about 2 weeks before I came to this conference, as they always do, they trashed my website.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So, and I apologise for that too, but that happens, that's been consistent.
Gotcha.
This time it was a bit more malicious because not only did they crash the website, it was a lot deeper technically.
Okay.
So they corrupted all the files, the videos don't play, so I had to go back, and I haven't had time because I've been trying to prepare for this conference, to go back and fix things. So
is stifled by greed and corruption, there lies a hidden truth that could revolutionize our way of life.
Lenny, what are you doing? Are you seriously pitching a new show right now? I didn't authorize this. My God, only 5 minutes into your new position as co-host, and you're already adding to my tight schedule.
Yes, sir, I manage that schedule. But I did notice you have an entire 2 days available during your week.
Wait, you're not talking about Saturday and Sunday, are you?
Of course, sir. You have 2 whole days where you're free to work on new content.
Lenny, those are my days off.
It's okay, sir. I know you'll manage just fine. I have faith in you.
Do robots have faith?
I do. I have faith that you won't screw it up again.
You know what? It's fine. Go ahead. I'll just build my cold fusion Lego set some other time.
It's PON certified.
But I'm not telling them about my idea for a thunderstorm toilet. I'm gonna keep that baby close to my chest.
You know, that just sounds wrong.
It's a good idea. A toilet capable of turning any toxic human waste into, well, it turns into petroleum jelly.
Why petroleum jelly, sir?
You know what? I'm not sure. I don't think it's calibrated correctly.
Enough is enough. The world is at a breaking point. Catastrophic climate change, biosphere collapse, and a global energy crisis have been met with apathy, denial, and despair. The phrase unidentified flying object is a deliberately obfuscating term. What it really is an alternative energy and propulsion device. This is the real reason for the secrecy. These technologies, if they were disclosed, would end fossil fuels, pollution, and poverty overnight, and usher in a new era of abundance, freedom, and peace. Instead, they have been kept secret for over 100 years.
The more powerful the agency, the more powerful the group, the more powerful the cartel, the more they will resort not only to legal means, but to extra legal means to suppress their competition.
I said pretty early on, the problem is suppression. It wasn't really, how do I make a free energy machine? It's, how do I not get suppressed? Because what's the point?
Microscopic ball lightnings that when they discharge are tapping into that 0-point energy field and creating the motive force.
Boom! That's why the concussion from the thunderclap is so huge. There's this huge amount of energy that's actually sourced from the vacuum energy. All the dots connected. This is what's happening, right? So we need to make the thunderclap engine
Imagine a future where clean, sustainable energy is not just a dream, but a reality. Discover the countless untold stories of free energy devices and the relentless battle against those who seek to suppress them for their own gain.
Black shelving. So someone comes along, they offer you $20 million for your device, it's a corporation, they put it on a shelf. Boom.
This power is something I have given my life for you the people.
Uncover the shocking tactics used by energy industries to control the narrative and maintain their grip on power.
You don't interfere with the big, powerful people. You don't put them out of business. They still have those 50-year leases on the lines and all the power transformers.
The Environmental Protection Agency is a bit of a dictatorial police agency.
Shadowy government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanism, and the ability to pursue its own ideas of the national interest, free from all checks and balances, and free from the law itself.
This is real, usable power. It's stable. It is not transient. It is not noise. Behind the lamps, that little box is putting out all of that power, well over 500 watts, and yet it is receiving less than 1/3 of a milliwatt of input power. The rest of that power is coming out of the surging energy of the vacuum. And this little box that you see right here, solid state, no moving parts, is the vacuum triode that's doing this very practical and historical work.
But indeed, it put out more energy than it took in.
He was shot at once with a silenced rifle from about 300 yards. It reads like a James Bond movie, but it's real.
There are men here that said they're FBI, and they got black vans, and they're taking all this equipment. What should I do?
It's called capture, where they try to rationalize away this problem and everything's fine.
From manipulation of patent authorities to infiltration of government agencies, the truth is stranger than fiction. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerges in the form of renegade scientists and inventors who refuse to be silenced.
There is absolutely no question that T. Henry Morey had a system that produced about 50 kilowatts out of a 55-pound box.
In the shadows of capitalism's dark secrets, join us on a thrilling new show. Get ready to be inspired, enraged, and empowered as we delve into the Benefactor's Guide to Free Energy Devices.
Only on Beneficence TV.
Treated like a toy. Ideas are misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Talking love 0 point, the points lost on them. Kevin structures coming from the same old Sam. They laugh like I'm crazy, but I see it all so clear. Exploited labor under injustice burning ears. Fighting for a change in this wasteland of noise. But they call me foolish, rising shed boys. Benefactor boy.
Alright, welcome, and welcome back to Beneficence TV Live. We're going to hop into a interactive mini lab. First, I'm going to build my cap bank here, what I'm going to do, because I only have 1,000 microfarad capacitors rated at 16 volts, and we're getting about 19 to 20 volts extra. So what we want to do is put 2 of those in series and 2 of them in parallel, and connect them as a cap bank. But I want to put some resistors. I'm using 10K 2-watt, 10K ohm 2-watt resistors in parallel with each of the capacitors to smooth them out. And this, I guess, was recommended to me by ChatGPT in order to ensure that the capacitors don't exceed 16 volts each. So this should help evenly distribute the voltage between the capacitors. Hopefully, it works. Hey, what's going on, Bernie? How you doing? Good to have you here with us. Mike says there's a reason why public schools don't teach electric theory 101 as an elective. Yes. They don't want you nice and indoctrinated, or they want you nice and indoctrinated by the time you actually learn electronics. So, yeah, they don't like out-of-the-box thinking when it comes to electronics. People like me who don't know what they're doing and hook things up wrong and end up with a over unity system or something. But basically, if you're following before, the live stream ended. I don't know why. I didn't end it. That's actually the first time that's ever happened to me. Outside of, like the stream sometimes will get shut down because if I'm restreaming one of my videos, it might have a clip from, I don't know, Back to the Future or something. Sometimes that gets flagged and they just shut down the live stream. But that didn't happen. I didn't get flagged for anything. Obviously, I wasn't doing anything other than talking. So, that was really odd how it just kind of ended the stream automatically. I didn't do that. So I had to make a new stream. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got the breadboard right here. We're going to make this cap bank, and then we're going to head over to the lab right there, and we're going to try to see if we can feed some of the extra energy back into the battery. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to tap the positive terminal of the cap bank to the negative terminal of the battery while it's on. I'm not going to connect it and then turn it on because I want to see if it arcs. If I get any kind of arc, then I know that it's too much. We can also, at that point, measure the capacitors as well before we hook it up to the battery. Make sure it's getting the right voltage and everything's stable on that front. But that's our goal right now. We're going to try that. We got again, we got a 1,000 microfarad capacitor rated at 16 volts. We're putting 4 of them together to produce a 1 microfarad capacitor rated at, I think, 34 volts between them. So I'm going to play some music while I put together this cap bank here. We got Bernie here, so I'll play a little something for Bernie.
Bernie takes the stage with knowledge, throwing ancient tone. He speaks of free energy,
and cryptic codes. The world's a puzzle evolving at his hands. Living legend pushing limits where he stands. Blending the old with the new in his grip. His mind a river with endless wisdom to dip. On weekend at Bernie's, unlocking mystery, sharing secrets like a modern day alchemy. Free energy Fridays, sparking wild delight, chasing the unknown, soaring through the night. Mystical prowess and fearless exploration. Bernie's a myth, raw energy in motion. Blending the old with the new in its grip. His mind a river with endless wisdom to dip. In every tale he spins a yarn, cryptic knowledge. His shorts were never worn. The future beckons with each arcane turn. In Bernie's world, there's always more to learn. Blending the old with the new in his grip. His mind a river with endless wisdom to dip.
That song is dedicated to Burn Eye, the crypto alchemist. Bernie says, I've made some major breakthroughs in the equations of my electrochemistry, including nuclear electrochemistry and quasi-crystals. Interesting. Well, I look forward to hearing more about that. I'll be honest, I don't really know much about alchemy. But it's fascinating, really. Structured water. Ooh, baby. Alright, so we're going to connect the first two pairs in series. So we connect the negative of capacitor 1 to positive of capacitor 2. The positive of capacitor 1 is the positive input. Oh yeah, I always forget. If anybody is interested in alchemy, Crypto Alchemist has an amazing channel. I don't know if he can post the link. I might be able to make him a moderator so he can post his channel link in the chat. I have to go into the tab. Give me a minute. I'll make you a moderator if you want to post your link in the chat.
majestic moments in cosmic flight. Holding on to the stars of starlight. There's a light within the dark waves, guided by echoes of ancient ways. Unify our reflection. With everything there's a connection. Feel the pulse, divine sensation. Everyone feels the goodness of our invitation. There's a light within the dark waves, guided by echoes of ancient ways. Unify our reflection. With every beat there's a connection. Feel the pulse, divine sensation.
That's perfect timing. I think I'm done. Just need to double check everything. Oh, let me trim this real quick. This resistor's wire is a little twisted. I need to trim it off so I can plug it in the breadboard. Yeah, that track, Mike, is one of my favorites. It's called Divine Pulse. About to load up some more music in a minute. Just having a hard time getting this last resistor in place. We're putting 10K ohm 2-watt resistors in parallel with all of the capacitors as recommended by ChatGPT. We're going to go over the steps provided as well, just once again to make sure everything is connected right. Seem to have dropped one of my cables. Oh no. Oh, there it is. All right, there's our cap bank. Technically, it's not really a bank. It's more of a solution to increase the voltage on my capacitor. We just needed to increase it just slightly. It was at 16 volts. It only needed to be like 20 volts, so we'll see how it works. Yeah, these fake videos by the AI is getting ridiculous. I don't understand it, but it's fucking, some of it's kind of disturbing, like, to be honest, because I see it all the time, people passing off these videos like they're real, and then people commenting on them on like Facebook and shit, and like they have no idea. They have no idea that these videos are absolutely fake, and that's disturbing. That could lead to some serious consequences. All right, so let's go over the steps one more time. We have cap 1, positive, is the input, positive. Cap 1 negative goes to cap 2 positive. Okay. Cap 2 positive goes to the other side of the circuit. This will become the output negative. Okay, that's what we did. We put a jumper wire from that side to the other side so there's room. Cap 3 positive to input positive. So that goes on the input positive rail where this little red wire is for the positive input. Cap 3 negative goes to cap 4 positive. And then cap 4 negative is the output negative. So that goes to the negative output rail. So everything seems to be hooked up. We're going to try it. We'll put this, and then we'll attach a, what was our decision on that? Let's take a look at this circuit again. So we're going with a 220 ohm resistor. As you can see, our collector, which acts as the positive output of the circuit for the Joule Thief, the Lightning Thief system we're working with. That is being, has a branch that's being redirected back off into this, it says 1 MF, but that's really 1,000 microfarad. I think that's millifarad that it uses, but yeah, you can't put in 1,000. It'll go up to the next scale. So we have 1,000 microfarad capacitor, and then that is hooked up to a 220 ohm resistor. We're going to use a high wattage. See if I can find a 2-watt resistor for that one. If not, we'll just put two. I think we'll put two 460s in series, and then I'll believe that'll half. Or no, that's a capacitor. No, we'll put two 100s in series, and I believe that'll double the resistance. Sorry, I got the formula for capacitors and resistors mixed up in my head for a moment. Anyways, so we're gonna put the resistor, the other end of the resistor, directly to the negative of the battery. So, yeah, well, that's the plan. All we need is the 220 ohm resistor, and we can essentially test this bad boy out. right, I got the 220 2-watt. So, perfect. I found some. All right, so we have some good news and some bad news. As always, I like to start with the good news. Good news is we're actually getting voltage out of the cap bank. It is, unfortunately, not enough. So we've gone down from an excess of 20 volts to only about 7 volts. Now we can feed that back into the battery. We can touch the negative terminal. It doesn't have any negative effect, doesn't arc or anything. So that is a good news. Bad news is we need to try to raise that somehow back up to 20 volts, or at least above 12. I'd be happy with, 13 volts. What do you think, Mike? What would Mike do? What would Mike does do?
Mike does cracks the code tonight. Oh yeah, that's true. Wires and circuits to shine in neon lights. Oh yeah, seen you creating power from the air. These smiles and delights. Oh yeah. Mike does it right. Hey. Mike does, oh Mikey's the one teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans. Down in the basement, secrets start to glow. Oh yeah. With Nathan and Lulu in the show. Oh, brilliant team. Mike came on Faraday. We're letting knowledge flow. Energy streams. Mike does, oh Mikey's the one teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans. Years of thought, bringing dreams to life, turning theories into electric light. Mike and us, a journey to ignite. Oh yeah. We've reached new heights. Hey. Mike does, oh Mikey's the one teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans.
Yes, Mike does knows I'm his biggest fan. So it is charging up a little bit. The cap bank is at 8 volts now. I don't have it hooked up to the battery, but I don't think it's going to get high enough for us. Yeah, it seems to be steady at 8 volts. It's fluctuating a little bit, but it's around 8 volts. Again, we need at least 13 volts to be able to put any kind of significant charge back into the battery. Let me get a reading on the output right now, just to see where we're at. Yeah, see, clipped to the output of the power rail, we're getting 19 volts. Yeah, and that's basically clipped right from the outputs, the negative and positive terminal outputs. And we clip that voltage, and it's at 1920 volts. So there's plenty of extra voltage while it's powering this panel. Because if we unplug the panel, that voltage is going to shoot sky high. Here, I'll show you. We have the protection diode there, the neon lamp. Well, it's not actually a diode, but it's a protection lamp on the transistor, so we can actually unplug it real quick. Okay, so I have 3 meters here that won't accurately measure the voltage now that I've tuned it in more and it's nice and bright, the panel. So I don't have the panel hooked up. I haven't measured the voltage without the panel. It's like, it's glitching. So we're going to have to hook up the oscilloscope and see what's going on. Yeah, I don't want to run it for too long without the load because I swear I start to smell something burning. And I'm always aware of ozone with these coils. Now, it's not the open circuit method, granted, but still, I gotta keep my, follow your nose. Okay, so it was fucking with all three of my multimeters, and I have another one, but I think the fuse is blown on that one. Anyways, actually, I have an analog meter we could probably try too. But the oscilloscope kind of shows something interesting. And what it shows is when I use the probe and ground it to, the negative output. So we have the probe hooked up to the positive output rail and the ground of the probe hooked up to the ground. So basically, we have that hooked up and no load. So we're getting all the voltage that the panel's getting because it's not hooked up. And what we see is massive spikes. Like this is one of the best oscilloscopes you can get on the market. Like on Amazon, it's insanely expensive. These spikes were slowing down my shit. And when I see that, I know there's a lot of fucking voltage involved. And a lot or extremely high frequency as well. So interesting enough, we were only at 2K in the frequency range, but it was still higher than when the panel's hooked up, which tells me that we want to see if we can drop that frequency back down to raise that frequency back up from 1K to 2K with the panel on. So we can do that with maybe a capacitor. So anyways, the interesting thing that we see on the oscilloscope, all the voltage we see is in the negative. It's negative 68 fucking volts. Negative 68 volts. And then only positive 10 volts. So we're clearly getting a lot of negative voltage, a lot of negative potential. So I'm wondering if that is an indicator that we're getting more back EMF to the load. I'm hoping that's a good indicator. Hey, hi society, how you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna check my. I have an analog meter. I'm gonna. I think it'll go up to 200 volts. Let me see. If it does, I'll put it on there. I don't want to fry out another analog multimeter. Oh, and that was DC coupling mode, by the way. When we were taking that reading, it was negative 168 volts DC. So we weren't even reading the AC component, which would be interesting to read as well. But this analog meter goes up to 500 volts AC. So let's try it. You guys will never believe what my fucking analog meter is showing. And it didn't blow out either, which is interesting. I guess there's not enough current going through it that it's going to blow out the meter, but it's off the charts. My fucking shit goes up to 500 volts DC and 500 volts AC. Analog meter. I tested them both. and they're fucking all the way to the fucking end. Like, I can't even get an accurate reading because I think it's higher than that. So, what the fuck? Unless this thing is broken, we can try it. Let's see if it works with the battery. I don't know, it's hard to tell. This thing might be a little off, but it's still very close. I don't understand it. I really don't fucking understand it. We're getting negative 68 volts registered on the oscilloscope, DC coupling mode. And then we're also getting 500 plus volts, both DC and AC registered on the meter. Like, what? But the oscilloscope only shows 10 volts plus output DC. So, yeah. Try to wrap your mind around that. Bernie says, I hate those nights. I stay up all night. Yeah, I'm up a little bit later than I should be actually right now because I got work tomorrow. But I think we went over some very important things tonight. Specifically, you know, adjusting this cap bank and redirecting it back to the battery. That's promising for closing the loop. And also, we just discovered we have plenty of fucking voltage coming out of this fucking unit. Like, too much that my meters are being fucking screwed up. And it's hard for me to read them. Like, the meters are going, one meter's reading like 300, and then it goes down to like 10 or 0, and then it reads 400. And then the other one just doesn't read anything at all. Or actually, the other two don't read anything at all. So I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? And the meters work. They're picking up the battery just fine. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it a night. We went over some really important things, and yeah, we had some fun doing some experiments. But we learned that this thing is putting out an enormous amount of negative voltage that's actually being soaked up by that 40-watt panel. So that's at least what we can see with our eyes, because that's a 40-watt panel. It's being lit with our lux meter readings at about 8 to 10% brightness. So, yeah, we know a lot of power is going into that panel. Yeah, much love, much love. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you all next time.
Cast away, alienated from the aids of added nature in disguise. Ideas ahead of time dismissed with narrow eyes. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world you can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his point. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Talking about 0 point, the points lost on them. Structures coming from the same old Sam. They laugh like I'm crazy, but I see it all so clear. Exploited labor under injustice burning ears. Fighting for a change in this wasteland of noise. But they call me foolish, wanting shed boys. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world you can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his point. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Chasing revolutions in the darkest nights. A dreamer with vision beneath the laughter and noise. A future so bright waiting for the right choice. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world you can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his point.